Hi students, welcome back. This is Plus 2 Computer Application Chapter 8 Forms and Files. Before getting into the video, please do subscribe. So in this lesson you're going to learn about basic HTML form controls, PHP basic form handling, basic PHP form validation and also about files. So let's start with an introduction. Main objective of PHP and HTML form controls are to collect data from user. So let's see how to collect data from user in a easiest manner. Now look at this example. It is a form used to collect data from user. And this form is developed for pizza shop and it is used to order pizza online. And this form is created with basic HTML form controls. So let us see what are the form controls available in this form. Here we do have text input. Text input means this is actually text box. You can place a cursor and you can type your name. And then we do have radio button. Look at this small circle. You can click on any one of this. So this is radio button. Name of this button is radio button. And here we have list box. You can simply make a click on this arrow. So you will get the drop down list. You can select the item from this list box. And this is checkbox, and checkbox you can select both, but radio button it is not applicable. You can select any one of these three, but checkbox you can select all the options. And here we do have text box, you can type multiple lines, and finally we do have button. So this send my order is a button, and the name of this button is control button. It is used to submit the order. So these are the form controls used to collect data from the user and it will send to the server using server-side programming language, that is PHP. Let us see the basic form controls available in HTML forms. First one is text inputs, then buttons, checkbox, radio box, file select and finally form tags. So using all these tags you can create a form and the form will be completely created with HTML. So last year you have learned how to create form using HTML. The same thing. So this HTML form controls will collect the data from the user and PHP code is used to send the data to server. So let's see how to do that. So here we do have PHP basic form handling. We do have two methods. One is post method and the other one is get method. So as I said, form will be created using HTML code and all the details will be gathered with the help of HTML form controls. And when the user makes a click on submit button, at that time this PHP code will be activated. That is form handling will be activated. This PHP code will send the data to the server. So it is sent in two different ways. One is in post method and the other one is get method. So here we have very simple difference between post method and get method. So now this is a client machine and this is the server. So let us see the difference between post method and get method with an example. Now let's start with get method. Look at this form. This form is created using get method. Now here we do have one text box. User simply enters their name. And after entering the name, submit button is clicked. So what happens in get method? When the submit button is clicked, it will go to the next page and it says welcome Ashok and look at the URL. Whatever you have entered in the form, those details will be displayed in URL. So if the form method is a get method, then all the input that are entered by the user will be displayed in the URL after clicking this submit button. And now let's see an example for post method and look at this. This form is created with post method. So this forms gather the information from the user, name and password. So here we do have two input text box. The details are collected from the user and when the user makes a click on submit, the data will be sent to the server as the request. So look at the output. Now it says welcome Ashok. This is the response given from the server. And look at the URL. The data which is collected from the user is not displayed in the URL. That means it provides data security. So this is the difference between post method and get method. The input data sent to the server with post method is stored in the request body of client. It is not displayed in URL. So which means it is providing data security. And then get method. The input data sent to the server using get method is done via URL address, that is uniform resource locator. So the entire detail will be displayed in the URL, which is not providing data security. So now let us see how to write the program using HTML and using PHP. So using HTML we are going to create the form, and using PHP we are going to handle the form. So let's start with HTML program. Here we do have open HTML tag, then body tag, then form tag. Inside form tag we do have 3 lines. First one is name, and then we have input tag. This input tag is used to create text box, and then BR tag, it is used to break the line. And then we do have email ID, this is a label, and next to email ID we do have a text box, that is input type tag. And then we do have input type is submit. So here in this place a button will be created. So that's it about form. And then body tag is closed, HTML tag is closed. So overall we do have 2 text box and 1 button in this HTML file. And the remote server PHP file welcome.php is mentioned in the form tag under action attribute. Form is the tag. We do have 2 attributes, one is action and the other one is method. So under action we do have welcome.php. So let's see what is given in welcome file. Welcome file is a PHP program, and here in this program we have used PHP variable $_post. Here in this program we have used post method. So the variable post is used in this program, and this post variable will collect the data and it will prepare the response. So in this program PHP code is embedded in HTML. So let's see the output of this program. Look at this. This is the form created with the help of HTML. So here we do have 2 text box and 1 button. So after entering the data, user can click on the submit button. So when you make a click on submit button, PHP program will collect the data, that is both the input box data will be collected and it will prepare the response. Now look at the response. So this is the response given from PHP server. So the program will be executed in any one of the browsers. For example, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, any of this. So user will receive the output response in the client machine's browser screen. So now let's see the basic PHP form validation. Here we do have 2 types of validation. One is client-side validation and the other one is server-side validation. So first of all, we should understand the meaning of validation. It is a process of checking the input data submitted by the user from client machine. So let us check what is client-side validation and server-side validation. So client-side validation is done on the client machine's web browser. So let's see how this validation is taken place. Let's see with an example. It is a form used for online transaction, and this will be opened in any browser. So here when you enter the data, if you get any pop-up message informing that the entered data is invalid, such information is called client-side validation. Before sending the data to server side, the programmer can write few validation from browser in the client machine. So here we can add that additional required attribute. That means if, for example, email ID, you have to enter the complete email ID. If it is missing any character, then immediately you will get pop-up message. So the input data validation are performed on the client machine web browser. So after entering all the data, user can make a click on confirm payment. At that time, all the data which is entered in the input box will be collected and it will be sent to the server side. So server machine will validate the data. So after the validation, server machine will send back the response to the browser itself. You will get successful response from the server side if all the input data are valid. And you will get failure report if the entered data are invalid. So all the sensitive data will be verified in server side validation. I hope you all understood about form handling with PHP to create the form and to access the form. And now let us learn the file handling technique in PHP. Let's learn how to access the file. So now let us move on to the next topic, files. File handling is an important activity on web application development process. Files are processed for different tasks using the following events. Let's see the events. We do have PHP open a file, then PHP read a file, PHP close a file, PHP write a file, PHP appending a file, and finally PHP uploading a file. So let's start with PHP open a file. fopen is a system function available in PHP. This function helps to open a file in the server. So this fopen function has two parameters. One is to specify the file name, which file should be opened. So we have to write the name of the file. And the other one is to specify mode of the file. Mode means you can give permission for reading or you can give permission for writing. So these are the two parameters under fopen function. So let's see the syntax. Syntax means general form. So this is the way to write this code in PHP program. First we have to write the object and then we have to use the function fopen. As I said, we have two parameters. One is the file name and the other one is read or write mode. For example, if the given name is not available in the system, the file if it is not available in the system, we should get the error message. For that, die function is used. Here you can write the error message. For example, PHP open tag, and here we do have the object $myfile equal to fopen, and here this is the name of the file and it is a text file. And what permission we have given? Read permission, and then or. If the file is not available, we have to say unable to open the file in die function. Then we have to close the PHP tag. And the next one is PHP Reader file. So fread function is used to read a file. And the file object comes from fopen function. So if you want to read a file, first we have to use fopen function. We have to open the file first, then only it is possible to read the file. So to read the file, we use fread function. So let's see the syntax. fread function has two parameters. One is the file object. File object, it holds fopen function. So we have seen in the previous slide. And the next parameter is file size. So you have to mention the file name. So let's see an example. PHP open tag, then comes fread function. You have to mention the file object. So this is the file object we have seen in the file open function. And then we do have file size and we have to mention the name of the file. And then you can finally close the PHP close tag. So in simple words, fopen function is used to open a file. fread function is used to read a file. And the next one is PHP write a file. So if you want to add some content to the existing file, we have to use fwrite function. And fwrite function is used to add some content. At the same time, we do have two parameters. One is the object name and the other one is text. And the last one is PHP close a file. So let's learn how to close a file. fclose function is used to close an opened file. And the file object comes from fopen function. So if you want to close a file, first of all it should be opened. to open a file, we use fopen function. So after using fopen function, you can do the process with the file, and finally we can close the file with the function fclose. So let's see the syntax. Fclose is a function having only one parameter. It is just the object of file. Object of file comes from fopen function. So just write the name of the object. So example, open PHP tag. So here we do have $myfile equal to fopen. So open function is used to open a file, and after opening the file we can close the file using fclose function. So the parameter is just the object name. You have to specify the object name. Object name is myfile. With that the program is over. You can close the PHP close tag. So let us quickly get into the recap of this lesson. HTML forms and files. You have learnt about basic HTML form controls. So this form controls are used to collect the data from the user. And the next one is PHP basic form handling. Two different ways you can handle the form. One is using post method and the other one is using get method. And basic PHP form validation. Yes, we do have two types of form validation. One is client-side form validation and the other one is server-side validation. And finally, you have learnt about files. So here we do have file handling system to open a file, to write on a file, to read a file, and to close a file. All this you have learnt in this lesson. That's all for today. Thank you.